I want to share a video with you of a recent conversation I had with one of our clients, Frank Kitchen, who is a professional speaker and professional auctioneer, as well as a leadership trainer and corporate trainer. We talked about the results he's gotten since he started working with us a little over 90 days ago. And he's got incredible results, seeing huge increase in his online engagement with his followers on his social media platforms, but also he's generated leads for speaking engagements, opportunities for auctions, and he's literally created thousands of dollars of business just within 90 days from his social media with little to no investment in his social media, just investing in our services. So I never like to just say, hey, this is what we do and why we're awesome and why you should work with us. I like to let you hear firsthand from one of our clients who isn't getting paid for this testimonial. He's just a great guy who took the time to talk about the results he's gotten, and because he's excited about it and he's happy with it. So I don't want to go on. Want you to watch the video, listen to Frank, hear the results he's gotten since he started working with us, and also listen for quite a few tips and tricks that you can take and use immediately after watching this. Hope it brings value for you. I mean, before we met, what was your social media strategy?
Social media strategy was I post for themes and just say, okay, this month is going to be on leadership,
Okay.
but I would just post randomly. I didn't really have any purpose to it. So when I met you, you started to ask me and dig in. It's like, okay, Frank, what's the purpose or what's the value you're trying to add to your customer? And that's really made a shift for me because I started to realize I'm a person who likes to share.
Right.
And people remember what you share with them. And I told when I work with business leaders and companies, I tell them is like be in the sharing mode, not the selling mode, because
Right.
no one likes to be sold.
Yeah.
But people like to share. So if I told you right now there's a great restaurant down the street, I shared information, you'd probably go down
Right.
there. So I gave some value not only to you but to that restaurant. So I'm sharing. But everybody's been talking about right now, it's like sell, bottom line, and that's not what it is. Like it's when you add the value. If you think about when you buy a product, you think what the product is, but there's anything special, extra on top that value proposition. That's what you remember and tell people about.
Yeah.
So if you go somewhere, you expect to have good food at a restaurant that I told you about, but the extra value might have been the fact that they said your name when you came in, or that they have an outdoor area to play because you've got kids, so your kids can run around.
Yeah.
Now none of that cost you anything.
Right.
But that extra value brings you in because they're like, oh, I've got kids. I need a place where my kids can run around until the food shows up.
Yeah.
That's an extra value that's perfect for you. So they're thinking about the customer and the value, not thinking about, oh my God, it's going to cost me $50 to have this place set in this play area. They're thinking like, hey, it's going to bring me in. Or even I've got a friend, he's an entrepreneur where he goes around the company saying, you know what, you need to have a big sign that says free Wi-Fi. He goes, the reason I come here is because Wi-Fi. He's like, I don't come here for your coffee.
Right.
He's like, I come here for the Wi-Fi, then I buy the coffee off. He's like, that's just the extra value. So the people who understand sharing, adding value, it makes a big difference. And my posts have doubled like over 200% working with you, like in 3 months. I mean, 200%. Wow. I mean, I went from a couple hundred to thousands of followers and people who want to follow my stuff because I posted valuable items, but also valuable items that are based off of my speaking message, but also what my company provides.
And real quick, let's define the value, because 3 months and getting over 200% increase in engagement and followers, and really the math is probably a lot more. Yeah. How many followers did you have?
I had 900. I jumped up to almost 4,000.
So almost 4,000 within about 90 days, that's incredible. And it's real, not bot followers. It's just engaging the right people and having the right strategy. Frank is not picking fruit. He started cultivating relationships, building equity. People will tag their friends, they'll share.
Tag friends, but like even the piece like you taught me how to properly place hashtags.
Right, and some of the technical stuff. Why? Because those hashtags, and this is the Instagram strategy that we'll talk about in another video training, but the hashtags help it get in front of the right people. So you want to offer value, and we'll define value in a second. Well, you want to offer value, but you want to offer it to the right people who are looking for the value that you offer. And some of you are watching this video and you're thinking, well, I don't know what kind of value I have to offer. Let me put it to you this way. You'll never know the value you have to offer until you begin to offer the value you have. You'll be surprised the response you get when you share your story, when you talk about your product or your service, and you're confident with it. You don't know how many people need what you're offering, because to you the mistake we make is we undervalue what we have. And it may not be as valuable to you, but to someone else, it means everything. So Frank has been sharing much more valuable content. But let's define that real quick. So when we say adding value, share valuable content, what's the basis for that?
Well, the value for me was I call it social proof, but I would always tell people what I did.
Right.
And what happened was I was getting no engagement because people didn't want me to tell them. Nobody wants to be talked to or scolded. But what happened was I started to share what I was doing.
Right.
So whether it be I was speaking, whether I was working on a project, writing a book, consulting with a client, I just started to share parts of life. Like you said, to incorporate video. Just is amazing to watch the engagement for a video versus just a static image. So the piece was I started to share more of the behind the scenes of what I did.
Right.
And that engaged people more because they got to see me as a real person. They got to see me as a business owner. I shared like successes and failures in my post. So I wasn't
there's
trying to be
authenticity
perfect.
there.
Yeah, authenticity told me to be genuine, so I wasn't trying to be this perfect person. And like I had great responses, like when I had a typo.
Right.
And people were like, hey, it's like you had this typo here, but great information. So the whole piece became, as you said, the value was to provide great content. It wasn't just to put just any random information out there. It was make sure it's got some substance to it, but the substance is related to the clientele that I work with,
Right.
and it was also relevant to the content that I'm trying to provide.
So that's